Today I will show you how you can make your first Android app. Let's open Android Studio. It may take some time if you have HDD, and if you have SSD it will not take much time. It will take only 1 minute to open. It's showing my old projects, but I will go with a new one. So I will click on new project. You can see there is four options: phone and tablet, where OS means watches, and third one is Android TV, and then automotive. But I will go with phone and tablet. You can see there is multiple activities like Google Pay activity, login activity, Google Map activity. But here I will choose the empty activity as it is easier to understand. You have to give your application name here. Uh, as it is your first build, so I will go with the easy one. That's why I am choosing my calculator app. And this is package name. Package name is necessary if you want to publish your app in Play Store. Otherwise, it is not that much necessary. You can keep it anything. And save location is where you are saving your application files. You can change it by pressing here. And you can select two languages for making the app. If you are familiar with Java, then go for Java. Otherwise, if you know Kotlin, then obviously go for Kotlin because Kotlin is more easier than Java. Then you have to select the minimum SDK. Minimum SDK means what Android version your mobile should have. If your mobile is having Android Pie, suppose, then it will support Android 5 also. But if you select Android 9 here, suppose, then if you install it in Android Pie mobile or Android 5 mobile, then it will not show up. It will not get installed. It will give failure. So you have to select the minimum possible. Then every mobile on the Play Store will support it. So I will go with the Android 5. Let's finish it. It will take some time for loading all the files, creating all the files. And after finishing everything, you can see there will be some files show in the left side in the project section. But it is still loading. Maybe it may take 5 minutes. Okay, everything is done. You can see there is no logs in the right side. And this is the main activity file. This is the main class file where you can mention all of your functions. I will go with it later. First, I will show you the layout file. It's the layout file, main layout file, where you can design your app. And there is already a view there, hello world. I will just select it and delete it. So now we have a black screen or a white screen. Okay, so let's design our app. Before that, as I'm designing a calculator, so first search in Google about a calculator app. If you want to make any difficult designs, complicated like this first one or this one, you can go for it. But as it is your first build, so I will recommend you to make something easier. So I will choose this one. This one is looking so easier to build. So I will go for it. I have saved the image here and I will one by one implement all this design in my app. So you can see first that there is a zero here. That means it's a text view. So I will add a text view here like this. And you can select this text view and from the right side there you can see attributes tab. If you press this, you can see all the properties of this view. And in the text property, it is the name actually. If you change it to 0, then it will reflect here as 0. You can see it. Okay, let's change the size. You can find every attributes here. If you cannot find all the attributes here, then you can search it like this. Suppose I want to change the size of the text, so I will press size or text. First I have to select the view, then search for size, and you can find there is a text size, and I will change it to almost 60 sp. Now you can see that the text size is bigger than before. So like this you can add anything, like if you want to add a button here, you can add it. So now the view is almost ready for launching. So now let's launch the app. I will run it on my emulator. You can also run it on your mobile. I will show you how to do that in a different video. It will take some time for opening the emulator. As I have a SSD, so it will not take much time, only 3 or 4 minutes. But for that time, I am pausing the video. Okay, the emulator has launched and it is actually launching the app. And now you can see that the text view have come to the left side and the button have come to the top side. But my design was not like that. In my design, you can see the text view was here in the right side and button was in the middle. Then why it is happening? It is happening because I will tell you about that. It is happening because something called, okay, let's see. Okay, before that I want to tell you something, that if you select a view and if you want to edit or add any view, you can either take it from the palette from here, or you can also code it like this. Here you can see one text view I have added, two buttons I have also added like this. And there is the split option where you can either design it in the right side or you can edit the XML file also. So I will go with it. If you select this view and if you go to the attribute, you can see that there is a constraint widget and there is 4 plus buttons. If you press 1, the plus here, you can see there is a line goes from here to the upper side. If you press on the left side, it's also going from the left side to the left of the view. And also you can see there is a number written here, 289. If I change it to 0, then you can see it have come to the almost left side. It is happening because you can tell it as a distance, as a connection between the view and the main view. This is the main view. So constant is something like a distance or a connection. You can call it anything. You will get it easier. So for every view, you have to mention all of the 4 constants, like where it is connected from the 4 side. If you don't do it, then you can see what will happen. It will go to the 0, 0 position. This is the 0, 0 position, and all the buttons and everything will come here. You can again check it. If I add another thing like this, another button, if I run it, you can again run it. Let's see what happens. You can see everything is coming at the left side. This is happening for the same reason, as all these buttons have no constraints. You have to mention constraints for all of the views, and this is not mandatory in every Android apps. This is actually mandatory in this constraint layout. I am using constraint layout in my application. That's why it is necessary. In a different video, I will explain you what is constant layout and what is the other layouts available in Android. There are lots of other layouts like relative layout, linear layout. In those layout systems, there are some other facilities. Every layout system have some different facilities and different features. But in constant layout, you have to do this. You have to add every constant in every side. And you can do this either from here by selecting it and giving it from here like this, or you can also give the constant from here, like press it, take it, and leave it where you want to leave it, like this. And if you take the bottom side and leave it in the bottom, it will come in the middle because you are giving distance from the both side, so it will come in the middle. If you remove it, the bottom side, then it will come to the top, as there is no constant in the bottom side. That's why. So you have to mention all the four constants. You can also take it and place it in this view, then it will be connected with this view. What does it mean? It means that if I change this view position, if I like it is not changing, give me a moment. If I change it, press it here, then you can see that this button is also coming down because it is connected with this view. I have connected it like this. You can see there is a line, you can see that I have connected. So it will goes where this zero will go, like this, as it is connected. This is constant, the connection of each side of a view. So you can design the app like this. You can take anything from here to here. But I think it is more difficult. I think the coding part is more easier. But first you will take it difficult. But after some time, after making one or two applications, it will get easier for you. So I will delete all the views I have added. You can delete it like that. And from the fresh, you can see there is a blank page. As a fresh start, I will add a text view. You can give the width wrap content and height as a wrap content, the text size to 60 sp and text as 0. And I also need to mention the constants I told you before. So constant are mentioned like this: right to right of parent, left to left of parent, top to top of parent, bottom to bottom of parent. So now maybe you have a question that how is it happening? What is right to right of? Okay. And what is parent also? See, parent is the whole thing. This whole page is the parent. And if I ask you what is the left side of this parent, then you will show me this side, right? And if I ask you what is the right side of the parent, you will show me this side. The same thing is happening here. This is telling that the right of the view, that means this view, the right of this view, this is connecting to the right of the parent. That means this right is connecting to the right of the parent. And this means the left of the view is connecting to the left of the parent. This left of the view is connecting to the left of the parent, like that. And if you don't want to connect the bottom side to the bottom, then you can remove it. I have removed it, and you can see these have come to the top. But you can see in the calculator design, the text is actually in the right side. So I also need to delete the left part so that it will jump to the right side. Now if I run it again, let's see what happens. Okay, now you can see it is placed correctly. Okay, now let's add other buttons like this. First, there is a C button. So I will add it like this. Button, wrap content, text as C. And also you need to give IDs to every view. And ID is the particular attribute by which we can identify the view better. I will show it later to you. Now just let add it ID and give it a ID as that is a view. So I will give it a view. It's a view. ID is just like a particular nickname. To recognize the particular view, we use a ID. Now come to the button. Here is I have to mention some constant again. So I will give it. You can check the image that the button is on the left side and it is down to the text view. So I have to give two constants. It is on the to left, left left of parent and bottom to not bottom. It will be top to bottom of this view. What is this view? This view is this one. You can see it. This is this one. And whenever I placed it, you can check the button. It have come to the bottom side of the view and it is also on the left side of the parent. It is on the left side of the parent and its top is on the bottom of the view. That's why I've written the top is to the bottom of the view. I think you can understand what is the constants. Let's close it. Also, you need to give another ID to this button so that it can be recognized later. So all the buttons I will call it as B. B as the button name is C, I will give it as C. VC. Let's add another button. Give wrap content. Text as like the image. You can check the image. There is a plus minus sign. Give another ID here. You have to give ID to each and every views. So I am giving ID as button plus minus. You can see that there is a bulb logo is coming and it is saying that there is something wrong here. Can you say it? What is wrong? Actually, you cannot mention any capital letter in any XML files. You can also check here. Here, there is three warnings and two errors. And if you press here, it will show what is the error. As I already know about it, so I am telling you, you cannot mention any upper letter, capital letter. So you have to write everything in small letter in the in the XML files. But it is not necessary in the class files. In the class file, you can see there is some upper capital letters also. Sorry. So I think this view is completed. No, you can see there is a red line under the button, and it is also saying that there is some errors. Let's see what it is saying. It is saying that missing constants. So you have understood that some constants have to given. And you can also check it in the right side that the button is actually resetted in the 0,0 position. So I have to give it to the proper place. So the proper place will be left to right of button C You can check it where it is right now. It is on the right side of the C. And also I need to add another constant so that it will come here in the bottom. So can you tell me what will be? It will be in the bottom of this text view. So I have to add bottom, no, top to bottom of view, like this. Now you can see everything is in correct position. So like that you have to add all the buttons here. Right now, this new button, can you say that what will be the next constraint? This will come, the top of it will be top to bottom of what? It will be under the bottom of C, button C, like that. The text will be 7, and I also need to give another ID. So let's give button 7, B7. No, it is not possible. So I have to give B7 like that. No, it is okay. What is the problem happening here? Cannot resolve a symbol B7. So you cannot give a symbol also. You have to make a name B7. Now it should be okay. Cannot resolve symbol B7. Wait, what is happening? Okay, I got it. I'm making some mistakes. You have to add this at the rate plus ID here. Then B7. Now it is fine. See, let's add another button. Wrap content, left to right of B7 and top to bottom of BC. Okay. You can also show it in the top to bottom of this button. But for easier, I am showing it under this C button. Okay. Let's add ID. ID as B8. Now it's fine. I have to add a text here as 8. Okay, maybe now you have a question that what is this wrap content? What is this wrap content? Maybe you have this question. So wrap content means content is what is under the view, the text inside the view. So the text is 9 and it is wrapping the content, the height and the width. The height and the width is wrapping the content. That means if I change the text to a very bigger text, you can see the size will also change according to the text. This is the wrap content. But there is also something called match parent. If I make it match parent, then you can see the size is as like the parent's width. The parent is the whole screen and the width is just copying the whole screen size. And if I change the height also to match parent, then you can see the button is actually grabbing the whole screen because it is matching the parent's height. That's why. So we cannot use it here. we have to change it to wrap content, and the text I will use as 9, and I will give it to left to right of button 8 and top to bottom of button C. Okay, that's fine. What is next? That is, I think everything is done here. Let's add another button. Give it as wrap content, text as X, ID as button X, and I need to give the constants left to right of button 9, 7, 8, 9. There is no show. It is not showing any B9 because I haven't added it. So I have to add it here. B9. Now it will show here. Yes, B9 and top to bottom of BC. Okay. Now again you have to select this view, this 4x4 views, and come here, press it, and expand it horizontally. Sorry. Now you can check it is in the correct position. It is almost catching the image. Now I also need to add these 3 rows here. For making it quicker, you can select all these views like it is started from B7. Just select it here from here. Come to B9 and copy it and paste it here. And you can see that there is giving some errors. What is it? It is saying the same ID. BX ID is already used in the previous line. I just have copied it. So I need to change these things. The new button will be B456 minus. So it will be B4. The text will be 4. And here it should be B5. The text will be 5. It's also B6. It should be B7. So, no, sorry, 456 minus 456, and it should be minus. No, we can't give like that. We have to type it like the full name, B minus, and text as minus. 456. I have just misspelled the errors. Now it is fine, but you can't see any new line here. Do you know why? Because all of the views are overlapping to each other, as there is the same constraint used for every views. So I have to change the constraints. I have to come to the last one. It's B minus, and no, I have to come first. I have to start with the 4. So let's come to B4. This is B4. The left to left of parent is okay. Top to bottom of BC is not right. I have to change it. It should be top to bottom of B7. Okay, now it is good. Let's come to the next button. This should be also top to bottom of B7, and the left to right of need to be B4. Okay, and here left to right of need to be B5, top to bottom need to be B7. Here again B6, and the next one is B7. Okay, now you can see everything is in their proper position. I need to add again 1, 2, 3 and plus. So I will again select this from 4, 5, 6 minus. I have to copy it. It is not copied properly. I need to select it again and I have to paste it here. Again you can see there is giving some errors. I have to change it. It is B4. It should be B1 and the text should be 1. The constant should be left to left of point, top to bottom of B7. No, it should be B4. Okay. It should be B2 and the text will be 2. And the left to right of B1, top to bottom of B4. Okay. You can check it in the right side. Everything is going properly. Next, the button should be B3 and the text also need to be 3 and it should come left to right of B2 and top to bottom of B4. Okay. Now B minus, this should be B plus, this should be B plus, and this minus sign need to change to plus sign, and it should come beside B3 and top to bottom of B4. Okay. Another line is there. What is 0 dot and is equal to sign. So again I will add some. I will delete one as there is only 3 buttons in the bottom side. I have to give the IDs V0 and text will also be 0. The next one should be B dot, the text will be dot, and the last one will be B equals, and the text should be this. Let's change the constants. This B0 need to be top to bottom of B1. The button B dot need to be left to right of B0 and top to bottom of B1, and this also need to be on the right side of B1. No, this should be on the right of B dot and top to bottom of B1. Okay. Okay. Now you can see that the equal to sign is not placed properly as the image. It should be some bigger size. So either you can change the size from here like this, or you can also change it from here in the text. You can change the width to 400 dp. Now it will be much bigger. So I may give 200 dp. Okay, now that is fine. See, the calculator design is already made. Everything is done. You can change the background colors also. Okay, let's see how that is done. And also you can change this button's color. If you want to make it as this color, you have to change the property. You can change it from here as background tint. You can change it to black, or you can press here on this color and you can go to custom. As there is a different color, I will select that. Okay, let's select the red color. That is fine. And also there is some different background here. So now I will change the background. To change the background, you have to select this constraint layout where all these views are present. Here, you have to change its background. So background tint, you can first change it to black, but nothing is happening. So I will try a different attribute, only background, and make it black. Okay, now it is fine. And now you can press here. Either you can take these colors or you can add a different custom color. Like maybe I can give any color. I can give this one. It is not showing properly, so I will go for a different color. Now it is fine. That's good. You can also change the text sizes of these buttons and also the text sizes of these buttons. If you want to change the size of these texts, then you can add another attribute as text size and make it to 20 sp, or you can make it more bigger as 40 sp. Okay, now it is looking fine. So I just need to copy this line and add it to each view. You can go one by one. You can check in the right side how is it changing. It's almost done, just a few left. Okay, now it's done. Now it is looking better. And you can run it and see how it is looking. It is the emulator, and you can see everything is looking as it should be. Everything is proper. You can press it also, but you can see nothing is happening actually. If you press it, nothing is changing. So what you have to do, you have to make some functions of this particular buttons. So for doing that, you have to come to the main activity file. And so how can you identify these views in this activity file? From the activity file to this class file, how can you identify? If you cannot identify this view, then you cannot change these properties. If you cannot identify, then you cannot make any functions also. So if you want to do this, you have to use some trick here. Like you have to add a variable. Suppose I want to identify this view. So I will give it a name as view or view1, anything. And I have to use a function called find view by ID. It is a pre-built function, and here you have to give what it actually is. As it is a text view, I have given. Now you have to mention the ID. The ID is under r.id. Then you can see all the IDs. Whatever you have created, I have created button 7, x, 0, 1, everything, button minus plus, and that was a text. That was, I think, text view. Let's check it again. Yes, this was text view. See, this is actually now this view one is actually referring to this particular view. Now you can do anything. You can do anything here with this particular variable. So like this, you have to attach this variable for every views. Otherwise, you cannot do anything with that. You can add another for the button one. Let's add button one and find view by ID. It is a button, so I'm giving it button. Then r.id.view1 like that. Now you can do anything with these variables. But it is very time wasting thing. You have to add almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Almost you have to use 25 lines here like this. You have to add another 20 lines here. So I think it will be so much time wasting. For this reason, Android already have announced something new. I will show you what it is actually. You need to go to Google. You have to search as View Binding Android Studio or View Binding Android. You will find a page in the official developer.android.com. It is calling View Binding Android Developers. You have to go here. You can check that first to add these features in your app, you have to add something. Like I'm copying it. You also need to copy it. And you have to, here it is written where you have to place it. It is written that it should be placed in the build.gradle file. So I am going, you can find it in the Gradle scripts here in the build.gradle file. There is two build.gradle file. One is project wise and another is module wise. So it should be also mentioned here. Yes, by module basis. So you have to go to the module build file and it should be added here like this. And after doing this, you can see there is some sync now button is coming. So after you press it, it will download this feature from the internet. You can check it. Yes, the download is finished very quickly. That's why it doesn't show up. So now what it will do, you don't need to add these lines here. What you have to do is you have to mention a variable here as view binding, or you can give any other names. And if you type binding here, you will find there is something as activity main binding. Okay. So now what you have to do, you have to use that view binding and you have to give it a particular value, Again, you have to type activity main binding dot inflate. Here you have to pass layout inflator. It will be a little difficult to understand for now, but I will explain it to you. So, what does view binding do? View binding is a particular feature announced by Android, and what these features do? These features actually give you a class like this. This is activity main binding class for each and every XML files. And right now in this app, I only have only one XML file, like activity main. But if you want to add another activity file for another screen, your app will not only have only one screen. It can have multiple screens. So there will be have multiple XML files, multiple UI screens. For each and every UI, you will get a binding class like this. And this class, it will do everything automatically. It will add those 25 lines which I was mentioning before that you have to add to communicate with all of these views. You do not have to do that. The Android system is already doing it. They are already creating a class automatically and they are connecting with this view automatically. You can check it. I will use it right now. There is a variable view binding I have created. So let's press view binding, give it a dot. Now you can see all the views here, right? B plus, B minus, B1, 2, 3, 4, everyone, text view. You can see everything is connected automatically with this view, and another class have been created after connecting all of this, that is called activity main binding. And you can see that the class name is actually similar with the XML file name. And for each and every XML file you will create, the class name will be just like that. Like if you create activity main2.xml, then it will be activity main2 binding, like that. It is that simple. And use you can use any view, you can manipulate any view without creating many lines. It will be easier right now. So what you will have to do, let's come to the function part. You are pressing the, let's come to the emulator. You are pressing these buttons, but nothing is happening actually. So what you have to do, you have to add some functions. Let's start with the button. Let's start with button dot. Okay, let's start with it, button dot. So for okay, another thing I have to do, but you will not understand it right now. I have to change it to view binding dot root. I will explain it later. You just need to copy it. Just copy it. And now let's again run it. You can see after running, it is giving some kind of errors. Why is it happening? Because I have misspelled line. It should be upper side of this. Now again, let's run it. Okay. Now you can see it is running properly. Now let's give functions to this button. So how you can give functions? Let's give function to the button 1, B1 or B0. You can see as you have seen already that For every view, you can access the attributes from this attributes tab like that. Also, you can access those attributes from this coding part from here, each attribute you are using, and also you can use it from here as v0 dot set text. It will change the text. And if you use set background, if you type here as background, you can see there is background. If you change the color, you can see current text color, highlighted text color. You can change every attribute from the function. But I want to give a custom function that will be set on click listener. Okay. Now it is coming a new point that what is listener? Listener is the thing, sorry, listener is the thing that when you are pressing on the app, you can see that it is doing something. It is glowing. So how it is happening? It is happening by a Android's by default system. When you are pressing on it, it is listening to your press. Okay, it is listening to your press and it is passing this signal to the system, or you can call it to the brain, and the brain then process something, and that is this function set on click listener. This listener will listen to your press, and this set on click listener function will do whatever you will tell it to do right now. And I right now I'm on the v0 function. So what it should be do, what it actually do in your real calculator. Let's open a real calculator. Whenever you press 1, it is actually changing the view. Whenever you press 2, it is adding the 2 to the present view. Whenever you are pressing the 3, it is adding this 3 to the present particular text. It is just adding it to the right side. That's it. So you just need to give that function here. Now first what we have to do, that we have to create some functions. I have already told you how to create functions in Kotlin. You can watch that video before. First function I will create as func display. This function I will use for if I press button 1 or 2 to display it on the screen, I will use this function. Then I will create function multiplication. I will type as func multi. You can give it any name. Then func divide, func div. Func this multiplication, divide, func addition, addi. Then func addition, func subtract, func subtraction. What happened? Oh, sorry, func subtraction. Then I have to create func result. This is for the equal to sign, for getting the result. And this much is enough for right now. And I also need to create some global variables. I have to create 3 global variables. Number one is variable a, and it will be integer. I will set a value as null. Then variable b, it will also be an integer. Then variable c, it will be a string. I will also keep a null here. Okay, these variables, okay, I already have typed it before, so I will delete this. Okay, these variables I will use for keeping the first number in and save it on A, and taking the second number and saving it on B, and C I will use for saving the sign, the plus sign or minus sign. Those sign I will save it on variable C, and I will just create the function result where I will only take the value from A, B, and C, and I will get the result and print it on the screen. So first I will start with creating the function display. I forgot to mention something, that I also have taken another global variable as type new line, and I have given a default value as false, and I will explain you that why I have taken this variable. I will use it in this function display also. If type new line equals to true, then it will start typing from a new line, and I will use it for what I am showing you. Like suppose I am multiplying 12, I am additioning 12 with number 2. Then you can see that when I am again showing you, when I type 12 and when I press the plus button, the 12 is still here. But when I am pressing another new number, then the 12 was gone. So this is why I will use this type new line. This type new line will indicate that if it is true, then it is indicating that yes, now I need to type a new line, and I have to erase the previous line from the display. I think you have got it, what I want to tell you. So now I will, if type new line is set true, then I will reset the display. To do that, I need to take view binding, and the display's ID was text view, and the attribute is text, and I will set it as blank. This is blank. And if this type new line is not true, then this block will not be executed. Otherwise, what will be done? I will take another variable as t1, and I will keep the data from view binding dot text view dot text dot toString, and I will, that means uh, whenever I am pressing a button, it will it will save uh, the text from this button to this variable t1. Whenever I press this button, it will save the keyword from this button to the variable t1. And if t1 is equals to 0, I have to make it under a block, because t1 is a string, that's why. If it is an integer, then I can write only 0, but as it is a string, I have to write it under two semicolons. So if t1 will be 0, and you can see that when I'm starting the calculator, it is starting from the 0, but if I press anything, the 0 is gone. So if t1 is equals to 0, then the display will again be gone. So I will again erase it like this. I will copy it and paste it. The display will be gone. I can do it in another way. I also have to take another variable. I will take it as t2, and I will now give it only blank variable. So if okay, I also need to take an input. I will take it. I will take an input as called s, and why I will and what will be s? S will be the value when I will press a button. The button will give a value to this function, the value of itself. As I am pressing 2, the button 2 is giving the value of this button 2, and it is giving this value to function display. And I will show you here. This is the V0 button, that means the 0th button, and I will call this function display. First I have to click on display listener, and under here I have to call this function display, and I also pass the value of this V0 button. So I will pass it as view binding dot V0 dot text dot toString. This value is passed. Now the value is coming as s. So if t1 is equals to 0, then t2 will be s, and otherwise if t1 is not 0, then t2 will be t1 plus s. That means it will take the value already in the display. It is already in t1. You already know that the value on the display is saved on t1, and if the display is not 0, then the new value, which is actually saved in s, will be added with t1. That means will be added with the previous value. Like if I press in 3, then it is actually added with the previous value, and that is written here. The t2 will be the value s will be added with the previous value t1, and the new value will be saved in t2. So now this t2 value is needed to be displayed, so I will display it on the screen. For that reason, I again need view finding, then text view, then text equals to t2. Okay, that's fine. So now let's test it. Okay, so to test it, I think we also need to, we cannot test it by only 0. We cannot understand that. So we will test it also for button 1. We need to change only these two things. Okay, button 1. Let's run it. And let's see what is happening. Then we will continue. Okay. You can see if I press any other button, nothing is happening as we didn't give any execution there. But if we press 1, you can see 1 is pressing here. If we again press 1, it is adding on the previous value as like a calculator. So our function is finished here. Function display is finished. Now we will go with the function multiplication. Now again in function multiplication, I will again variable t1 to save the value from the display. View binding dot text view dot text dot toString. I am using this toString because the text is not in string format. That's why I have to convert it in string to keep it in a string variable. Okay, now I will check if t1 is not empty. There is a by default function given by Kotlin to check it as not is not null or empty. Null is null or blank. Yes. Okay, so this function will return as, if it is null, then it will return yes, and this function will be executed. So I have to make it as this sign I have to give in here to reverse it. I mean, if this function will return true, then this will make it false, and this function will not be executed. And if this is not null, then it will return false, and that will be reversed and make it as a true, and if this statement find true, then this block will be executed. So I use this negative sign. I use this sign to reverse the function result. You I think you already learned it while learning any programming language or Kotlin video. Just watch it before watching this video. So I have to check if it is null or not. If it is not null, then I will save this value on A, the global variable. I have to save it on the global variable A. So A will be T1. But I also need to convert it in integer as it is a string value. And this function is for multiplication. So I will also use global variable C to keep it as a sign as multiplication. So later on the result function, I will only use this A, B, and C variables from the global variable to get my input, and I will give the output to the display in the result function. So now I saved the value on the screen from the screen to a global variable A, and also I have as it is a multiplication function, so I am just saving it just to identify later. So I am keeping a star and saving it on C, variable C, and that's enough. Another thing I forget to do that, I have to make it true, type new line true. Why I have done that? I have done that because you can see that while we typing, it is only attaching with the previous number. But when we press any sign as this sign, so now when we will press any number, it will reset the screen. It will reset the screen and it will start a new line. I already have told you before, but I again told you. So that's why I make this as true. So when there will be function display will be called, then first it will check that the type new line is true. If it is true, then it will reset the screen. Otherwise, it will only attach the value with the previous value on the screen. That's why I again repeated it. So as multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, all the functions are same. So I can copy this and paste it here. I only need to change this sign. This is division also here, and this is addition also here. This is subtraction. That's enough. All these functions are already done. Okay, now for the result function, I already have told you that I will use the global variables A, B, and C, but you can see here that B is still not used. So we have to take the data in B first. As you already know that if we take a number here and we press this sign and take another number, then this is the B I'm referring to. Now whenever I will press this button, then it will first take the data from the display and save it on the B, global variable B. Then it will perform the action and show it again on the screen. That's it. So first I will take the data from the view binding dot text view dot text dot to string dot to int. Yes. Now we have the full data we need, A, B, and C. Before that, we also need to check that if A and B is already there. Sorry, A and C is already there because maybe someone is pressing this button without taking any data, without pressing this sign, completely blank. Maybe someone is pressing it. So, so that's why you have to first check that if A and B is not null. So A is not null and C is also not null. And we also need to check if the B we are taking, we will feel a B is null. It is not necessary, but for making the program errorless, we have to check it first. Otherwise, you can skip checking it. Okay, we have taken the data. Now we have to perform the action depending on the value of the C. The C is the action. That means C have either star or plus sign or minus sign, etc. So we have to check the value of C. For the case of star, for the case of minus, for the case of plus, and for the case of divider. For each cases, okay, you also need to take another variable as result. And you have to make it 0. Let's perform the action as result is equals to A into B. But you can see there is giving some kind of errors. What is it? You just have to hover your mouse on the red mark, and it is saying that smartcast int is impossible because A is a mutable property. And here is a solution already given. Add not null assertion. So I will take it. If you know about Kotlin, then you know why is it coming. It is coming because we have given this question mark here. And why do we have given this question mark here? I already told you this before in the Kotlin video, but still I am also telling you right now that if you want to give a value, null value in a variable, then you also need to give this sign while declaring it. Otherwise, you can see that you cannot give a null value. In Kotlin, every variable is a not null. It is not possible to give a null value to a variable in Kotlin. So to do this, you have to give this sign if you want to perform any null value in that variable. So I have taken all ABC, each of this as a null variable. It can hold null values. So if you do that, then you also need to give this sign, this assertion sign here, to take its data back whenever it is needed. Otherwise, it is not needed. If you give only normal, if you write here, if you write here only int, then you can see that you don't need it. See, there is no errors. I hope you got it. So I got the result. Also, I need to copy it to everywhere. Okay, if you know coding properly, then you know what is when. When is actually the switch case in Kotlin. In C or C++ Java, it is here you will write as switch, but in Kotlin it is when. There is no other difference. So we got the result. Now as we got the result, we have to print the result on the screen. To print it on the screen, we have to use rewinding again. Dot text view dot text dot is equals to result dot to string. Okay, that's fine. Again, I will say that we need to make another function as reset. I will tell you why I am making it. First, let me build it. In reset function, we will reset all the values of from A, B, and C. We will make A as null again, B also, and C also null. Not only this, we will type new line. We will make type new line as by default false. So we make the reset and we will make the reset here. And also reset is needed also in somewhere else for the button BC. Here also we need the reset button. We'll perform reset here. ABC set to reset, and the display also. We will also add the display here. View binding dot text view dot text is equals to nothing. That's it. Now let's check the program. It will take some time. As I have closed the emulator, it will start again. Okay, the emulator has been started. Let's see what happens. I think the program is almost finished. We don't need to do much more things. There is a few things left. Okay, let's do some multiplication. Multiplication. No, something is not right. Let's run it again. Plus 2. Nothing is happening. We did some mistake. We have to find the error. Before that, I can see some errors like here it will be 0, not blank. Otherwise the screen here will be blank. It will need to be 0. Let's run it again. One plus 2. Nothing is happening. Okay, I got it. No. Wait, we have to add this line for more numbers. Otherwise, we cannot check what is happening. We have to add this line for all the numbers we have. So BC, B0, B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, B6, B7, B8, B9, C0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. And also we need to make this for my dot button minus, also for button equals, and also for button plus. Okay, now we got the error. This is the extra line. I have to delete it. Okay. We also need to change here B0, B1, B2, B3, B4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and B minus. No, for B minus, we have to perform function minus, function subtract. For the equal button, we have to perform function result. And for plus button, we have to perform function addition. Minus equal plus. Is there anything else? Let's check the image. Wait, we have the image in the emulator also. Minus plus equals. Also have this and this. We also need to add that. Need to give it any ID? Yes, bx and this. There is no ID given in this button. We have to give an ID. B slash. Okay, B slash. Can we give it like that? No, it's not possible. We have to give only alphabet. So we will give B such B divide. B divide. That's fine. Divide. So we need to add this also. B divide dot set on click listener. Inside this, you have to keep on click listener and function divide. Okay. And here we have to give some button x bx dot set on click listener on click listener function multiplication. Okay. As there were these functions was not assigned with the on quick listener on these buttons. That's why the app was not running properly. Now I hope this will run properly. Let's check it again. Gradle build is running. Okay. Add 12 with 21. Something is wrong still. Let's run it again. 12 plus 12. You can see that there is an error like the screen is resetting each time. So you have to check the display function. If type new line is equals to true, view binding dot text view is equals to text is equals to reset. It is happening each time. So type new line should be false after performing it for one time. So we need to add it here. That type new line will be false. False. Okay. Now I think this problem will be covered. 12 plus 12. You can see the problem is fixed. Now get the result as what? Okay, the reset button is working. 12 plus 12. Okay, this is actually multiplying. So either we have given function multiply and for B plus function addition. We have to check the function addition. Okay, you can check it like that. Just select it and press Ctrl and the left mouse click here, and it will directly come here. Function addition. Function addition, that's fine. We have to go to the result part. For addition, we are doing multiplication. See, this is the error. You have to make the addition. For minus, you have to make minus, and for divide, we have to make divide. This is the error. Let's check it again. Now I think everything is fine. 12 plus 12, it is given 24, plus again 12, 36. C is resetting it. Let's divide something. 55 by 11, it is giving 5. Okay, is there anything else? Yes, we have forgot to give the dot button. Yes, we have to perform the function of this dot button. Let's make it. Okay, before adding this dot function, I would like to change something on this display. This should be here. You can also see it that in any calculator, this is in the bottom side. This should not be on the upper side. So I will go to the activity main. Let's minimize the emulator. And I made this app like the upper side of this button is connected with 0. So there is something wrong here. I will tell you that. Like if I change the bottom constant of this 0 to, yes, it is already written here that the bottom of this button 0 will be connected with the top of button C. But still, in that case, it should be here. It should be come here, but it is not coming. This is happening because we have given some margins on this complete line. We have given some margin, so we have to delete it. See, now it is coming. We have to delete this margin for each of the buttons from the top line. I think there are 4 buttons. Okay, now you can see it is perfect. Okay, no, that is fine. Now let's again check it, run it again. Okay, now it is on the proper position. Now let's type something and see. Yes. Now everything is okay. Reset it. Okay. You can say me that what is the necessity of resetting this on the result part. This is actually not necessary, but uh, for keeping the program out of any errors, unnecessary errors, I will reset this on each of every result part. I will reset the A, B, and C, these variables. I will reset it each time to keep the program bug free. That's it. Otherwise, you can skip this reset part. You can also skip this if else parts. If else parts, this is also not necessary. But if someone will try to make a glitch on your app, then that will be not possible if you perform this if else statements. Then we need to add this dot button function. We will start it. Okay, for making the dot function, I will create a func as func dot, and I will copy the data from other function like func Let's say function display type line is to if t1 is equals to 0, then t2 should be s. Let's no, I don't need a dot function. I don't need any dot function here. What I will need is to call the display function. I need to call the display function. The display function will be in say b dot set on click listener. Let's pass on click listener and call display function from display. And let's pass here rewinding. Sorry, rewinding dot b dot text dot toString. That's it. Also, I need to perform another if else statement because you can check it that if there is 0 and if we press dot, then 0 is not vanishing. It is still there. So we have to give another else if function as else if t1 if else if s is equals to dot, if the input is dot, sorry, I wrote it wrong. The syntax will be like this. If s is equals to dot, then it will be same like t2 is equal to t1 plus s. Sorry, there is a mistake. I have to perform this at first because you can check that the first statement is checking that if t1 is equals to 0, then t2 will be s. Then uh, despite of I make this statement else if statement, it will first check that if it is 0, then it will re remove the 0 from the screen. So if I press dot, then still it will reset the screen because it is first checking if it is 0. So we have to change it and we have to give this at first, the first version. If s is equals to 0, then t2 is equal to l. Else if we have to check the 0 here. Else if t1 is equal to 0. Or else this. Now check it. Let's run and check. Now I think it is fine. It is here. It is 0. Space dot. Okay, that is good. But you know, in integers, dot is not valid. If I make any multiplication, you can see the app is crashed. The app is crashed here, and there will be given some errors in build, not in build, in run section. Yes, yeah. The reason is number format exception for input. I have given an input of 0.2, but but while parsing it to integer, it is giving the error. Now you have learned how to check the errors. You just need to go to this run tab and see everything in red color, written in red color. And here you will be given the link of the line where the error is actually present, and the particular error will be written here, from here to here. in this first two, three lines. Here you can see that while parsing the integer, there is giving a number format exception for as you have given 0.2 from the string. You know, point is not present in integer. If you know the mathematics properly, then integer is not valid for any point. So we have to make it either float or double. So I will check it with double. Let's make it double. Okay, you can also change it like uh, here it is fine. Yes, it is fine. Okay, just press Ctrl F from your keyboard, and you can see a search portion have come, and type here int and this button. Select all occurrences. Press this, and all the integers will be selected. And just type from the keyboard double. You can see everyone is changed in a single try, and still it is giving some errors as A and B is not the result is actually also need to be double, so it should be double. We can also wrote it like this. Yes, now there is no errors. There is no error showing. 30 warnings are showing, but warning is not a matter. Now I think everything is fine. Now let's test it. Hello, mic test. Hello. Yes, mic is working. Okay, let's again perform some dot functions. 0.2 plus 0.1. Yes, 0.3. You can see that everything is fine. Only there is a lots of button coming in the right side. We can also change it, but I will skip this part. This is not that much necessary because this answer is also valid. But we can take the data for up to two uh, two characters, but that is not necessary. We will again perform something else like 0.5 into 2. It should be 1.0. Yeah. Let's check it again. 14 into 0.5. It will be 7.0. Let's again check 0.4 plus 0.3. It will be 0.7. 0.7. Okay. Everything is fine. Okay, I think that's enough for the keyboard for this functions. Okay, another button I am missing out. That is this percentage function and also this plus minus function. I have to also make those functions. Okay, for the function percentage, I have to add another function as func percent. You can give it any name. So first I will save the data from the screen to a variable as like before. You find in the text filter text artist. Okay, now I will check if it is blank or not. Is null or blank. So if it is not blank, if T1 is not empty, then the action it will perform is I have to take another variable here as variable s and keep it and make it blank as a string. So if it is not blank, then it will again check something that if T1 is 100, that means 100%. What's the error? Cannot be applied to string and empty. Okay. So I have to make it a string. If T1 is 100%, then S will be 1. Otherwise, okay, I can make it shorter. Okay. Okay, the 1 also need to be covered as it is a string. Else s will be 0 point plus the value on the screen. So T1. Now it will print the value on the screen. So let's print it on text view. Text is equals to s. That's it. Now I have to call this percentage function on the button, percentage button. Here I will copy the line. B percent, and the function we need to change, and we have to call function percent. That's it. Let's test it. Okay, suppose we want to take the percentage from 1000 and we want to take the percentage of 20%. So 20 and press the percent button. Okay, now it is absolutely doing right. 0.20 and answer. The answer is 200, sorry. So it is good. Now there is another button left, that is plus minus button. Okay. So actually plus minus button is used to make any integer or any number to its minus form. Like if I press the plus minus button, there it will come a minus sign here. So that's very easy to make. For doing that, I need to make another function as function plus minus. That's fine. What it will do, it will do the same thing. It will take the data first from the screen. It's not needed. And it will again check if it is not null or not empty. So if the data, if the screen is not empty, then it will just add a minus sign before dot text view dot text is equals to, first add a minus sign here, then the data. That's fine. Now I also need to call this function on the button. So I will type it, view binding the b plus minus dot set on click listener function plus minus. Now again let's run it and text it. I think the calculator app is completely finished. So if I want to make it minus, okay, that's fine. And let's check its performance if it is working. 2 plus minus, sorry, it is not performing well. I will check 12 into minus 2. So it will be minus 25. Okay, that's fine. Everything is fine. Okay, you can also remove this dot 0 from here. But technically this is correct. This is minus 24 and 0.0 is also okay. But as a visual, if you want to make it correct as a calculator, so dot 0 should not be here. You can remove it, but I will skip it right now. So all the functions of all these buttons are given properly. One more thing I would like to change, that is the display. All these buttons you can see that they are joining with each other. I will change it, and I will make a gap between each of the button. Okay, so everything was done, but then suddenly I have seen that some of the recording was not done. I have done some change on the design part. I will tell you right now, but that is actually not being recorded. I don't know why, but I will show you that in previously we have seen that all these buttons was just joined with each other. But to give a gap in the middle, I have given I have used a new attribute that is called layout margin, and I have given it for each of these view layout margin. Okay, I have given only 2 dp. You can also change it, and this is for this gap. This is creating this gap, and also I have changed something else. I have changed the width of each button to 0 dp. That means I have resetted the width of each button. The width is actually right now 0 of each button, 0 dp. Then I have added a new attribute as width percentage. This is actually a particular feature introduced in the constant layout. Actually, constant layout is made for this. This is not available in any other layouts. And constant layout gives you the feature of uh, constant layout gives you the feature of introducing any view with not only giving a particular dp in its width or in its height, you can also give the percentage in its width or in its height, and it will work. And you may ask that it is 25% of which, then what is 100%? The 100% width is this, the width of the parent. This is the 100%. And here it is given 0.25 for each of this button, because you can see that each button is taking only 0.25% of the screen. So that's why I have given 25%. If you change it and if you want to change it, you can change it. If you give it 50%, then each button will take half of the screen. I think now you can understand. So that's why I've given 25 to make the button, to make 4 buttons in a row to give it a perfect shape on the screen. And you may ask me that why it is necessary to give it as a percentage. This is actually necessary because if you use a button with a particular DP, suppose I will show you. I will go with this button. No, I would like to go with this button, this last button. I will show you. Let's 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 come to the design part. Okay, let's give it a width of 50 dp, suppose. No, I will go for 10 dp. That's fine. Now you can see the button here. It is looking absolutely right. And I will remove this percentage also. Yes, it is absolutely right. You can see. Then what is the difference? If I change the resolution of the screen, then you can check it. That this button is cutting more from its right side. Okay, that is happening. That is actually happening because DP is a thing like DP's full form is display pixel. So it is almost like a pixel. There is a little difference between DP and only pixel. But right now I will not go into go into that detail. DP is, you can say it as a pixel. So I already have set it to 100 dp. That means it will only take 100 pixel. It doesn't matter at which device you will give it, how big size screen you will give it. It will only take 100 dp. I can also show you like I would go for a tablet view. Let's go for a tablet view. What's happening? Let's go for a tablet view. Why it is not working? I don't know. Let's reset the screen. You can reset it by just pressing here. I would like to go for a tablet view. Suppose a desktop view. Yes, that is fine. I will minimize. I will zoom the screen. This is a desktop screen. The resolution is different in the screen. But you can see that as I have set this percentage in all these buttons, this is taking a particular percentage of the screen, despite of the resolution of the screen. It doesn't matter at which resolution the screen is present right now. It will adapt on the screen. That is the power of using the percentage. But in this button, you can see that this button is looking very small because it is only set for 100 pixels. I can change it. I can make it 200 dp and then it will be a little longer. But that is actually fixed. Now if I change it again for this pixel 5, then it will be lots of bigger. You can see it have become very longer. That is the reason we use percentage. And again I will add this with percentage attribute and I will give it 0.25. And you know this is only available, I have told you this is only available in constant layout, and this is what constant layout is made for. In constant layout, your application UI will adopt the screen. This is not available in any other layouts. I will go in detail later in other video, but this is enough for this video. Okay friends, so this is our video for making your first application. I think your application is finished completely. You can also make it, and I will give I will give this source code of this application in the detail section. You can check it out, and also please look for our next video. Have a nice day.